Welcome back to In Your Neighborhood. I'm your host, Charlotte Brown, and if you're just tuning in, we've been talking with Charlie Brown today. He's the president of the Lkhd Transportation Museum Society, and we're talking all about the great Alexander Henry and that project. I'm curious as to when the ship gets here, all the things that it could be used for.
Oh, all kinds of interesting things. When it was in the Marine Museum down in Kingston, they used to run it as a bed and breakfast, and they ran that from about 1985 to 2010. Wow. And we've met quite a few people locally that have actually been down to Kingston and spent a night on the Alexander Henry. Now, we are going to have to assess that when the boat comes in. So we're not sure if we'll do that right away. We'll have to look at that, and hopefully that'll be a longer term project. But in the interim, obviously we can do tours right away. We just need to clean it up a little bit, spruce it up, and we can bring people on board. And then what we're looking at is a whole host of possible events. They used to hold regular events on the Henry down in Kingston, and little parties, and you can have your little bubbly drink and a canapé and be right on the deck or on the aft deck. And we're thinking, if we get the opportunity to bring it into the Pool 6 site, what a beautiful site that would be on the waterfront. You could go from the Blues Fest perhaps, Canada Day. Can you imagine being down on the boat on Canada Day and seeing the fireworks, and you'd be looking out across at the Sleeping Giant at the same time and have that opportunity. We're thinking of catering out for weddings or all kinds of special events or private parties, and just making it an interactive opportunity and an experience for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So when are you hoping to get the ship here, and when would you think that it would be operational to be able to do these things?
Well, as I pointed out earlier, they have in Kingston, down where it's docked right now, about a year's free docking, and that's quickly running out. So they have the free docking until about June. So optimally, if we can get City Council's approval here for the commitment for the tow, and we can get everything together, we'd love to be able to get it up here early spring, summer. But you know, it could be a little later. The sooner we get it in this year, then the sooner we can get it up and running, and we'll have a little bit of a headway this year to start up, and then full operations obviously next year. So that's what we're looking at. But again, it all depends on the commitment out of the city, where the docking site is, and how we can get the tow together and to actually bring her here. So that's hopefully this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned fundraising. So there's a part that you're wanting the community to kind of help with. You just did a fundraising evening. Can you tell me a little bit about that night? Maybe we can talk a little bit about how the community can help and get involved.
Okay. We had a beginning of a kickoff campaign for a fundraiser, Bring Home Henry. And it was a really great success. That was just last Saturday night at the Prince Arthur Hotel. We sold out of tickets. We actually took extra people in at the door. We kind of packed them in there. It went over very, very well. We raised, I'm told, approximately $4,000, so that's a good start. We've got a GoFundMe that people can certainly go online and donate that way. We're in the process of being able to write charitable receipts in the next couple of weeks, so hang on to it. If you'd like to pledge money right away, they can just email me at brillbuddies at gmail.com. And we'll certainly phone them back as soon as we get that charitable status arranged. And we're just hopeful that the public will help us along and support us in this project. Absolutely.
And you also have a Facebook page. We'll put that up on the screen as well, so that if people want to kind of follow along, I guess there'd be updates on there as to where the progress is, if there's other fundraisers happening, those kind of things.
Yeah, the Facebook, we've got people who do that. I'm an old guy, so I don't do much Facebook, but we do have people that are continually updating the Facebook, so they can keep track of how we're doing. We also have a kind of a campaign to show we've done a map of the Great Lakes, and we're filling up the Great Lakes as we go with money, and hopefully we're almost about halfway there. So if we can just get the city to come alongside, then hopefully we'll be here in 2017, the Alexander Henry.
Awesome. So that's the big project that you're working on right now. What about for the future of the Lakehead Transportation Museum Society? Any other projects that's kind of on the back burner that you'd really like to see come to life in this city?
Well, we had talked about sustainability for all of these projects. So if we bring up the Henry, the one reason we really wanted it, outside of it was an iconic image and of a historical artifact, is it is a revenue base. So we believe that not only will it pay for itself, that the extra monies we get out of that, then we can turn to those other projects without having to go to the city or other places. And those projects would be the restoration, hopefully, of the James Whalen tug, who's been in poor disrepair over the last few years at the Cam River Park, and the other one would be the Via train as well. Ultimately, we would like to see the museum and have those artifacts moved in there, and we've got a number of ideas. Actually bringing the Via train inside the museum itself, and then people would be able to get on the train. There's a dining car in the train. We could open that up again, and actually you could sit on the Via train, which you certainly can't do anymore because it doesn't come through Thunder Bay anymore. You could sit and have a cup of coffee or a sandwich on the train and look out over across the harbor and see the sleeping giant. Opportunity, say, for school kids to come in because there's a sleeper car on there. And school kids could come in at the museum at night. We could show them a night in the museum, movies, and they could stay a night in the museum and actually get to stay on a train. And where can you do that today? It's virtually impossible. So between the Alexander Henry, the opportunities open up as a bed and breakfast, the train itself, the James Whalen tug, we would like to be able to, the engine is gone in that, and it's opened up into a large vacant area. It's a great display area as well. As I said, the Brill trolleys themselves, if we get these out on trailers, then we could use that as an outreach program with the museum itself. There's lots of opportunity here. And that's just the beginning, because there are a lot of other artifacts in the area that we're aware of that we would like to incorporate down the line.
Absolutely. And Thunder Bay is truly an iconic city in Canada. That's so important to transportation, not just for our city, but for the country and the world. Like you were talking about Bombardier, Cancar, the shipyards, things. A lot of things were manufactured here.
If it wasn't for transportation, Thunder Bay would not be here, to tell you the honest truth. With the First Peoples, this area, they used to come and copper mine and use this area as trading. Then when the fur trade came, the voyageurs, this was a major portage place, as you know, with Old Fort William. Then with the European settlers coming in, the mining industry, the lumber industry, the grain industry for the shipping. We're right at the top of the St. Lawrence Seaway and a major port. We ship our materials around the world. As you said, the major manufacturing, the Port Arthur shipyards, Bombardier, you're looking at before that Cancar, before that Hawker Siddeley, really major. For Thunder Bay Transit, really interesting. First streetcar system owned by a municipality in Canada. And the reason for that was because Port Arthur figured that it was going to get cut off because the CPR, the rail terminus, ended up in Fort William. Wow. And so, and Mile 1, if you go down to Westport, there's the Mile 1 marker right there in Westport. There's so much history surrounding transportation here, and we're still a hub, and we're situated right in the middle of the Canada, between east and west, and between north and south with the United States. So if it wasn't for transportation, we really wouldn't be a city like we are right today. And that's our history, and we think not only is it our history, but that's a good tourism opportunity as well. Do what you have and showcase what you've done. And the proud people of Thunder Bay that actually built the city, we can actually turn that around and bring other people to our city, and then our city will grow even further.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Charlie, for being on the show today. I'm sure we could talk for hours about stories, history in our city, but I want to thank you for stepping up and working so hard to preserve the history of transportation in our city, for sure. If you want to get involved, make sure you get a hold of Charlie, join their Facebook page, give them a call or an email, and definitely support the projects that they're working on. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Be sure to watch next week with more on In Your Neighborhood.